This is how much of a granny I am. I literally printed everyone's hacks that I wanted to try today and put them in an order that made sense to me for like how I would get ready. I'm an old lady. I feel like this is something I'd make fun of my mom for doing, and here I am. So today we're gonna be trying some of your guys' best beauty hacks that maybe you heard it somewhere originally and you tried it and it has now become a part of your like regular routine. Those are the ones I wanted to know, because the reality is there's so many hacks out there that are so cool, but if you don't ever end up incorporating them, that might mean that they maybe weren't useful enough to you. Does that make sense? So anyway, the light's gonna be a little off and on because the sun is out right now, but it keeps going behind clouds. But I like filming in natural light, so just bear with me, okay? Let me have this. So the first hack is kind of two different hacks in one. One person said their sister puts their mascara tube in their bra while they're getting ready so it warms up. And another said they put their lash curler in their bra to warm it up, a la Emily Noel. I've got my mascara and where's I'm gonna have like a cacophony of things down there. All right, so we've got them both in there to warm up. So really that will be tested here in a little while. So the next one I wanted to try is to do concealer before foundation. So many of you guys recommended this. Now, I don't know how it's possible that I really haven't tried this very often. And honestly, the way all of you guys explained it is that it just ends up being way more seamless. And I'm like, why have I never done it in that order? Why do I always put concealer on top, you know? Like, why? But the biggest hack I'm gonna try is trying Robert Welch's concealer technique. Now, I had to go watch his video. He's a YouTuber, he seems lovely. I watched quite a few of his videos today, and I was watching his concealer technique video. I will link below. What he does seemingly is really good if you have fine lines and you feel like concealer ends up looking maybe a little cakey. It's just always sinking into those areas. Supposedly his technique is perfect for that. So we're gonna try it. So what he did, and I've just got the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer I've been enjoying. I'm gonna screw this up, so just bear with me. It's my first time. He put one dot of concealer out here and then two dots right there. And his whole thing was you want a little bit more coverage there, but you do want a little bit here and it's just gonna brighten it up. What he did was he just tapped it in place. And apparently that will just kind of blend it out on its own, and then you can kind of start moving from there. And you can see it did definitely brighten that area. And then you can kind of lightly kind of blend it so it's a little less harsh, if you will. My skin definitely still looks like skin there. It doesn't look crazy crepey or anything, but it brightened that area. And I do get redness or like darkness in that area from time to time. Same thing over here. He just tapped it in place, like right where it was. And then if I remember right, he kind of tapped it up because I have a lot of darkness there that I would like to cover. Just kind of tapping it in place. You're not really blending it like side to side. You're just tapping it. And then you can kind of lightly, he had a lot that went over onto his nose, which I'm not mad about because my nose is always kind of red. So I feel like if this works for me, this is one of those things that could really help out. And then any excess that was just kind of left, you could just kind of blend lightly in that area. I have to say, it definitely looks as though I just slapped on as much concealer as I normally would, but it's really not sinking into those fine lines. My fine lines kind of look like there's nothing on them, but in a good way. Does that make sense? Like it's still, the region still looks bright, but it doesn't look like I have product on top because all we used was that leftover bit in that area. And I like that it's got, you know, part of my nose is now concealed too. So we're gonna try the other side. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I am just like tickled over how, that didn't take any longer than the way I would normally apply concealer, which is just drawing a general amount there, but I'd just be blending all of it in that whole area, right? But it really does take away that issue with the fine lines where it's always creeping into it because we really just didn't put very much product at all in that area. Robert Welch, thank you so much. My fine lines have been needing this for a while. I'm gonna take the eyelash curler out and like sit on it because it's hurting me. Okay? So I am pumped about that. Now that we have our concealer on in those places, now we're gonna do the hack where we did concealer, then foundation. Today for my base, I'm using the Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream. It's like $10. You can get it on Amazon, and you guys, it's the bomb. So I typically just spread it all out, let it sit for a sec, and then I'll blend it in with my sponge. Now, a lot of you guys mentioned how you, with your sponge, whatever beauty sponge you use, if that's how you apply your makeup, you always take it and you, with like a washcloth or a towel or something, squeeze out in the towel any excess moisture. I started doing that a few months ago, probably from one of your guys' recommendations. It makes a total difference. You can squeeze out your sponge as much as you want in your hand, like in the sink. By squeezing it in a towel as well, like after you've already done that, it soaks up any of that last bit of extra moisture so that your sponge can really do the job and do it really well. I just feel like it ends up giving the perfect amount of like blending capability. I love it. What was interesting is while I was blending that out, I didn't feel like I needed, typically, maybe I still will, I'll go over my eyelid a little bit with whatever's on the sponge, just because I have like little veins and stuff that I like to cover, but I didn't feel like I had to. Usually it's so dark in that whole area because I obviously wouldn't have done concealer. And so I didn't feel like I really needed to touch that region very much at all. And my skin is looking glowy, really thanks to that BB cream, but I am newly obsessed with this concealer hack. I feel like I look so much more youthful in that area than I maybe normally would, especially like in person. Now, another one I didn't really try today, but that I do think can help a lot is putting on your concealer and letting it sit for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, I've heard some people do. It gives a little bit higher coverage that way and it stays in place a little bit better. And I do that from time to time and I do think it actually does work. So that wasn't one we tried today, but I do think it's awesome. So another hack was to put gel in your brows before you fill them in. I've never heard of this hack, but a couple of you guys said it. So what I typically will do with my brows is brush them out first, just so they're kind of in the general shape I want, you know what I mean? And then let's just give it a try. So I have this mini of the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. Honestly, I've had this for a while. I'm starting to wonder how long I've had it. I'm not sure. But we'll just kind of lightly put that in. I don't know, are you supposed to like let it fully dry before you go in with... I don't really know what this is supposed to do though. We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna let that dry for a sec. And then the brow pencil I will use here in a minute is the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim. This is not my like perfect color. This is deep brown, but I've only tried it a couple times since a recent video and I honestly just want to try it again. So that's why we're going to use it. While I'm waiting, I'm still getting a lot of questions. If you go back like a year and a half ago on my channel and see my brows were almost non-existent and now I actually have brows. I started using the Grande Brow Serum like a year and a half ago and that totally transformed my brows. And it's so funny because the first 3 or 4 months of using it, you know, it takes you 2 seconds at the end of the night before you lay down to run it through your brows. I didn't notice the difference. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. And then I swear to you, it was almost as if I woke up one day and looked in the mirror and I was like, what? My brows are darker, they're thicker, they're fuller. And it just blew me away. And now I'm a convert and I'm like, I will just use it. So now instead of every night, now that they're pretty much the way I want them to look, I just use it like every other night, you know, kind of off and on. But I don't stop because I don't want to lose the progress. I don't know what would happen, but I don't want to learn, okay? But it's expensive, but I'm telling you it works. It's crazy. And they don't know I'm talking about them. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. In fact, I think I've bought every single one of the bottles or whatever I've used of it, other than maybe one they sent me in PR like years ago. All right, so that feels pretty dry. I'm tapping out any excess like kind of wetness. So let's just try. I wonder what this is supposed to do though, like putting the gel in. Honestly, I kind of see what it's doing. So you know when you are going straight into your brows with like a pencil, and especially depending on the pencil, but generally it can really quickly look like you've just colored them in. You know what I mean? Like really quickly it happens. With this, I feel like because of the gel, it's a little bit coarser. Your brows are a little coarser. So it's only catching in certain spots versus all over the skin underneath. I am like astounded. Like I just feel like my brows, they definitely look more filled in, which I don't mind that. I'm just kind of brushing this inner part to kind of spread that color a little bit better, but I just feel like it applied so easily without looking like I colored them in with a marker. I just feel like that hack like actually works. I will say, I don't know, depending on the brow gel, because some brow gels don't give the brows that kind of coarse, I feel like would turn some of you off. But the thing I like about the Anastasia brow gel is that it almost, hardens the brow, but does give them that slightly coarse feeling where they're not gonna move. It's almost like hairspray, you know? But they really will hold them in place, and then that's why I feel like the pencil works really well with that. So another hack I can't really do because of the other hack I just did is to take a fluffy brush, and especially if you use like powder, you can kind of like brush the inner part of it with a clean fluffy brush, and it just kind of takes away the harshness of the look. And I really do feel like that works. Again, mine are now like really in place and not moving a crazy amount, so I don't feel like that would work. But I do think that's a trick that works. And if you always feel like you struggle with the inner part of your brow, which is always my struggle area, that is a great tip that really does kind of fluff it out and make it look a little less harsh. I'm drinking the AHA, which one is it? The orange and grapefruit. Big fan. This and the blueberry pomegranate, man. Those two flavors, if you can find AHA, it's Coca-Cola's like sparkling water brand. They are really good. Like, I'm becoming a convert. So another one is to apply powder foundation with a moist or damp sponge. Sorry to my moist haters out there. I just said it again. This is something I've been doing for a while, and I used to get yelled at, but now that everyone's jumped on board, no one yells at me anymore. But the only thing to keep in mind is that if you do it a lot, you might start to get hard pan on your powder. So today I'm using the Fenty Beauty New Powder Foundation. I do have what I think is the dupe for this. Video is coming very soon, a side-by-side video. So don't run out and buy this if you like the way it looks, because the one that I feel is a dupe for it, I think I like better. I almost used that today, but I was like, no, I want to give this some love too. So I'm going to use kind of the other side of my sponge and just get some on there. We'll do the nose a bit. But the thing that is so beautiful about doing it this way is it really almost takes down the powderiness that a powder might give you. Now, I feel like a lot of powder foundations are a little more forgiving versus like a pressed powder that's meant to be mattifying. I do feel like powder foundations mattify, but they just look a little more skin-like than other powders. I don't know. I'm very partial to powder foundations. I'm a big fan. I use them almost every single day because of that, because they offer the coverage and they will mattify somewhat areas that I want to mattify. Like the middle of my forehead desperately needed to be mattified. So now I feel like my skin looks nice and a little more even. So I still got some more to try, but I was just blown away by some of your guys' recommendations, and I might have to do a part 2 or 3, whatever, because there were so many that I was like, I can't fit them all into one video, or there were like 5 different brow hacks that I could only do so many, you know, in one video. So let me know if you'd want more parts of this, because I would be down for it. So I'm going to throw in a little bit of eyeshadow. I'm just using the Wet n Wild Nude Awakening palette. Love this. This shade right here is one of my favorite it has become quickly, one of my favorite like one and done shadows where I can just put it on the lid, blend it in with a fluffy brush, and it looks like a complete beautiful eye look. You know what I mean? Like it looks like you used more than one shadow, even though you absolutely didn't. So one of you guys recommended, I don't want to screw up how you said it. You said instead of using an inner corner highlight, I use what would be my inner quarter shade on my lower lash line. It makes my eyes look bright and more awake all day. When I first read that, I thought, oh, like, you know, like a nude liner that you might put on the lower lash line. But then I read a couple others, and that now I should have taken a screenshot that said that they use a lighter, more shimmery color, like a shadow, on the lower lash line. So that's what I want to try, because I've never done that. I think I used to do that. Like, I used to do like different colors on the lower lash line just because it was like fun and pretty. I have not done that in so long, and I'm curious to try it again, you know? I'm gonna use this really light shade in here. I did wet this brush with a setting spray, just so you know, just to kind of get it to maybe stick a little bit better since it is a powder. And you could, of course, probably use your highlight for it. So I don't know. I definitely did used to do something like this. I don't hate it. And here's the thing, I've been on a kick of only putting mascara on my top lashes. So I'm wondering if by doing this is kind of nice, because then I can have that little glow and I don't even have mascara in the way. It just kind of shows through in this like ethereal way. We'll give it a try. A lot of you guys mentioned how you use a dark shadow for liner. And I do that from time to time, and I figure we'll do it today. So I'm gonna grab the black and a really, really dense brush. I do think that makes a pretty big difference, especially like I like a little bit of a thicker line on top. This is the Zoeva 322 brow line. So I'm gonna do it wet. It does make a difference. I'm gonna go in the black in this. Yeah, it definitely goes on way more like traditional eyeliner this way. And some of you guys mentioned doing your liner like normal and then going over your liner with a like dark eyeshadow. Since it's a powder, you feel like it kind of sets the eyeliner a little bit better and it doesn't move as easily, which is genius. And I feel like you can give a really nice, like almost charcoal effect, and I think it's pretty. So that's one I definitely stand behind. Plus, if you're in a pinch and you're like out of liner, you forgot to bring liner with you or something, but you did have eyeshadow, there you go. You could wet your brush under the sink if you want, you know? All right, so we're gonna test warmed mascara, warmed eyelash curler. I feel like my eyelash curler is not as warm as it was because I had like scooted around on it, you know? So I'm gonna try to warm it with my hands. Some people also said you could use a blow dryer, you could use a glass of warm water. But again, just thinking of ease, if it's gonna take the extra step of getting the blow dryer out if I don't already have it out or getting hot water, I'm not gonna do it. So let's just see, we'll curl it. Wow, it definitely curled it, I feel like a little more noticeably than it normally does. So let's use this. This is the e.l.f. Lash It Loud. It definitely feels warm. This mascara I really, really like. It just really makes the lashes look so pretty. I have one lash that is like growing this way. Honestly, I just need to pluck it out, but that freaks me out. But I've tried everything to like get it to like not face completely sideways, and it's been like a month now, so I might just pluck it out. Another hack you guys told me about is a Jaclyn Hill one, I guess, where she would curl her lashes in between coats. That makes me a little nervous, but I'm gonna do it. I do feel like warming this, I don't know, this formula I like so much as it is. I didn't notice a huge difference in the formula, but if you do have one, especially a drier mascara that you feel like benefits from that, it definitely warmed it and it took me no time other than just sticking it in there and pulling it out. I just don't know that every mascara needs it, I guess is all I'm saying. All right, so I kind of let that coat set down. Now we're gonna curl it again. See, my only issue is I feel like, so I was gonna complain that it wiped a little of the mascara away when I did that, even though I let it dry for a bit, but my curl is better than ever, so maybe it's worth that little momentary setback, you know? So I will say having that little bit of light shadow underneath the eye does look pretty now that I have liner and mascara on. Since I didn't put anything else on the bottom lash line, I feel like it just, okay, I'm like into this, you guys. Now, a lot of you guys recommended doing highlighter, then bronzer, then blush. Typically, I would do bronzer, blush, then highlight. Why do we do it in that order? I have no idea, but the reasoning was that you get everything to melt a little bit better that way, and it makes the highlighter look a little bit more a part of the face already because you're putting like the blush on top. So we're gonna try that. And another thing, another hack was putting highlighter on our forehead. So I typically will throw a little bit right here and right here. I would notice when I would look at like pictures of models just like on the street, they would always look slightly shiny right there. It wasn't in the center, it was like right there, and it was so beautiful. This hack was you can put it on your temples, between your eyebrows like here. So we're gonna try a mix of that. So we'll start with highlighter. This is the MAC Double Gleam. This is so beautiful. Okay, we'll put it between the eyebrows. See, that just makes me feel like I'm gonna look greasy. I like putting it there on the brow bone. Oh my gosh, that's like maybe my favorite spot for highlight. And then we'll put it obviously on the cheekbones. I like to kind of swirl it, put it on the temples. That definitely gives that nice glow in that way where it's not just a strip. It really does kind of carry that throughout the face, which is really pretty. Well, you can't say I don't look glowy. I'm digging it. Again, that's just adding a couple more areas. I'm not totally sold on putting it here. I feel like for me, this area of my skin can get weirdly textured, so anything that's gonna draw attention to it, I might not love there. But I'm really digging doing it over on like up the temples and stuff. I feel like that's so pretty. So throwing on a little bronzer, this is the Maybelline City Bronzer. So now that we've done all that, we'll do blush, and this blush is so pretty. It's newer to me. It's the Laura Mercier Blush Color Infusion in Watermelon. It's like this satin blush that's just like, I like the idea of putting that on top because then, you know, sometimes you'll talk about like a highlighter being more of a blush topper. You're still getting that shine, but the pink's kind of on top of it, which I think is really, really pretty. Bonus points because this particular blush is a little more forgiving. Like you can put more of it on with my skin tone anyway because it's lighter, you know what I mean? But I definitely think doing all of that in this order made it a little less harsh. Like I feel like my face looks a little more seamlessly blended, kind of like doing the concealer before the foundation. Like everything just looks a little bit more seamless with no change in the amount of effort, really. It was just more of a what order you're doing it in thing. And of course, the new concealer trick that I'm obsessed with. I'm gonna force myself to use a lipstick I never use because I don't think the shade is right for me, but I wanna give it a try. It's in the shade Yash from MAC. And so I'm just gonna kind of wipe off the extra lip balm I have on there. I just use Aquaphor and it's the best. And we're gonna put it on because there is a lipstick hack I wanna show you. See what I mean? I just feel like, I don't know. I think it's just a little too close to my skin tone, and because my lips have a little bit more pigment to them anyway, this is like lighter than my lips, and I don't always like the way that looks. I don't think this looks bad. I just don't know that it's my particular taste on me. It would look beautiful on so many other people. So the lipstick hack is one that I feel like has been around for a long time, but it is one I use anytime I'm wearing lipstick, and it's just simply to go and pull it out. You'll see you'll have like a little ring of lipstick around your hand. You can wipe it off, wash your hands, whatever. And that helps prevent getting your lipstick on your teeth. And it works, you guys. Because basically all you're doing is getting the inner part of your lips that may have lipstick on it that might get on the teeth. You're getting it off on your hand ahead of time. It's simple. It works. But that was a hack a lot of you guys brought up. So I felt like showing you that I agree it does work. I think it's an awesome one. So that's everything. Looking at my skin and kind of going through these hacks. Let me get up my granny paper. The ones I know I'm going to try like tomorrow morning when I get up and get ready. For example, I am definitely going to do the Robert Welsh concealer trick again, or application method, I should say. I'm definitely going to do that again because I just feel like my under eyes look so much less crepey and weird than they normally do. Like it's so simple, but it's so genius. I'm definitely going to try the brow gel, then the brow pencil again in my brows because I do feel like that made it easier to not get them to be so dark right off the bat. And they just look so much more natural, if you will. And I really like that. And again, that didn't take me much extra time. It was just changing the order of me the way I would typically do it. I'm into the lighter color on my lower lash line. I'll be curious if I start doing this like every day, like would my husband be like, oh, you've got like sparkles under your eyes? Like, would he notice that? I think it looks really pretty and youthful. So I'm definitely gonna do that again. And I really like the idea of putting on highlighter before blush and bronzer, and of putting the highlighter just in areas maybe I wouldn't typically. So maybe doing it more in this region versus just here. The rest of them I think are awesome, but I don't know that they're things I'm gonna feel like I need to do every day. Maybe if I'm going to somewhere really, really special and like I want my lashes to look crazy, crazy curled, I could see myself doing like the curling between coats kind of thing. But on a daily basis, I know myself, I don't feel like I need that extra curl, so I probably wouldn't do that. But thank you guys so much for all of these tips, tricks, hacks, etc. that have become a part of your daily routine. You know, these are the things that are working for you. These are the things that you liked enough and that made a difference enough that you started doing them all of the time. And that's where I feel like the good hacks are, you know, that's where the good hacks live. So let me know by giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you'd like to see more of this style. I'd love to do it. I was definitely inspired by Allie Glines. I know she does a lot of like trying your makeup tip style videos, and they're so fun to watch as well. So definitely check out Allie Glines if you like this kind of thing, because she does this all the time. If you're watching this, you have probably seen Allie Glines and you are probably subscribed, but I'm just saying, giving her a little shout out because I do really like her and her channel, and she loves doing these kinds of videos. I love you all. I hope you subscribe. Stay tuned for more beauty and makeup videos here on my channel, as well as lifestyle and vlog type videos, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.